We'll go ahead and dive into Ben A versus B-Man for game number 1. Let's go ahead and dive right on into this and see how things go. So going down to the south, we have, I believe this is Ben A rocking the blue, while up north is B-Man rocking the green. This is going to be really hard for me to kind of follow, considering that his entirely different name up top, but I will make sure to know that this is Ben here. But let's go ahead and dive into the compositions. It looks like Ben is going to go for a more standard wolf comp that I've been seeing quite a lot lately. I'm playing around with this one as well. I really do like this composition for this meta. I'm glad the wolf has kind of made a little bit of a return too, with a combination of Squizzard as well as the pigeon to help heal things. And the ferret's going to be a bit of a dark horse, I think, for Ben. Meanwhile, for B-Man, going for a more standard badger deck with the balloon as a defensive unit, which I really do think that the strategy for B-Man is to try and make this more of a long game. Though there's not really a lot of options for him for a long game, considering that he only has like 1 mill available to him, while Ben has like all 3 in the world. And we are going to see a bit of an early attack from Ben, so that's going to be an interesting start here. But B-Man is probably going to prevent Ben from actually pursuing that, and he is going to change his mind on that regard. And he's probably going to go ahead and no, he's actually going to try to go for this attack, but I don't think they'll be ready in time for him to do any significant damage, I don't think. I mean, sure, he has the numbers now, but the squirrel's going to come in real quick for B-Man. And both, okay, he may actually get a pig here. Yep, he will get at least 1 pig, so 60 food going down the drain for B-Man, so not as, but probably isn't as big of a loss compared to what Ben could do. But of course, now that he's going to start building up his units a little bit more, see if he can go in for another attack, but I don't think he would be able to, because they are even in squirrels right now. And actually, B-Man would have the edge on the squirrel count, so he will be defending this very successfully. But Ben's going to go for it anyways. Actually, no, he's going to say, never mind. I realize that I do not have the advantage here, and will instead go ahead and extend and try to go deep into this. Sorry, that was my big old freaking gallon of water that I have to me, because, you know, you don't have to get hydrated, you have to stay hydrated, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyways, we are going to see some squeezes going in for Ben. So right now, I'm really liking his setup in the early goings, just going mass tier 1, trying to build up as much of his economy as possible. So while B-Man does have the edge in army a little bit, we do see that Ben can have the advantage when it comes to the amount, and plus we're still waiting on skunks to be ready as well. So currently Ben could play around and see if he can try and do an attack if he able to get his lizards on the ready, because he's gonna bring his entire unit back real quick. Though the skunk is here, so I don't know if this is gonna do much, but he has to go target that skunk, get rid of it quickly, and the battle is going to commence. And so far, it looks like Ben is able to go ahead and crack into this very easily, but now 2 skunks are there, so I would have to think that, yeah, Ben's is going to get wiped out here, and we'll have to continue on doing much. So even though the advantage was there for Ben a little bit, he didn't really target any of the skunks, and now B-Man's going to go for a counterattack here. Though I'm not sure if he's going to have enough even with the... Oh, actually he does. So it looks like that Ben might not be able to take this one, as I can imagine that mill's going to go down very quickly. As each of the pigs going down, the mill itself is about to go down. But now we're going to see another attack here from Ben. But so far, it's a little bit of a struggle, but it's not going to be enough, and I'm pretty sure this may be game here. With the mill going down, and we're getting very close to the 5-minute mark. And no, I don't know why B-Man's hesitating a little bit. I would say just go ahead and go for it. You have more than enough to go ahead and end this game right now, but instead, Bman decides to hold back a little bit, tries to get some build going, but for some reason, it's really looking like that this is going to be game here, as Bman is going to prevent any kind of counterattack from happening from Ben. But he's still going to go ahead and say, nah, I want to go ahead and solidify it real quick, try and get more eco on my side so I don't have to worry about the 5-minute mark, because the 5-minute mark has passed, and it pretty much we're at a point where Ben's kind of in a little bit of a desperation mode, and I do think that if he did look at some of the options that he has when it comes to the mills, he can easily go for a base race if he wanted to. Because I'm not even sure if he's aware of anything. Yeah, he's not aware of anything right here as we go into another battle here. A lot of mass tier 1, but with the amount of skunks on Bman's end, it's going to be hard to crack. But so far so good. Both sides really trying to take their time here, as we do see a tier 3. A badge is going to come out, and that might be kind of doing a little bit of a flex here at this point. But right now, he is going to try. We are seeing that Ben wants to go ahead and go after that food for the Badger. But he's not really going to be able to find any kind of real good angle here. And at this moment, I'm not really sure what Ben can do to crack this. Because now we're seeing some balloons coming up for Bman. Right now, it's just everything is going Bman's way in this first game. As we go ahead and look at the economy and the army grabs, you could just see that Ben has complete control of this game. We are seeing that the Badger is not going to get paid for another few seconds. So this could have been one of those situations where you could easily sell off one of the squirrels, because you really don't need that much squirrels anymore, especially with the firepower that you have. Yep, there it is. And now you can easily buy those squirrels again, which, no, he's going to buy more pigeons instead. Just to get more health for the Badger when it starts to rev up. Meanwhile, for Ben, there's not really a lot of opportunities for him to go for. I do think that it would be wise to just set himself up for a base race scenario. But it's not really looking to be much of a case. And right now, both sides are pretty even when it comes to the amount of pigs that they have. But you could definitely say that Bman's in a better position, as we are going to see another fight coming. The Badger's going to come out at any point. So even though there is going to be a lot of damage here, now the Badger's out. And we are seeing that Ben's going to go full retreat mode, try to regroup. But once that Badger is revved up, that's probably going to be it. So, yep. I think this is going to do it here, in all honesty. As the mill's going to go down, and we are going to see a tap there from Ben. So, Bman going to be up 1-0 here. And I'm going to type that down in the chat as well, so I do not forget. So, Ben-A-0. Yeah, Bman1. So just put that in there, put that mark in. But yep, good solid game all around. Was a little bit of a back and forth. I really did like the idea of what Ben was doing, but I think it's just not being able to get the timing correctly in those matchups. Trying to go for that early attack. Early attacks are difficult to kind of like execute, in my opinion. Like, it's probably one of the most difficult things to do in a game is to try and be a gremlin and go for those early attacks, whether it's with the squirrels or with the lizard. Yeah, for sure. Please, I would love to have that. In all honesty, it'd be pretty dope to have. I know, like, there's a lot of things that I would like to do as the year goes on. I think one of my main things is trying to get a different, like, actually build up a PC, because I'm only using, like, gaming laptops for the most part. So that way I'll be able to have, like, a legitimate gaming computer rather than having to rely on the so-called gaming laptops, right? But, you know, it is what it is. That's, like, future plans and stuff like that, so. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the game number 2 between Ben and Bman. Yeah, I use OBS. I do. Go ahead, start this off. So, let's go ahead and get into it as Ben, once again in the south, in the blue, while Bman, more on the northwest, in the green. So, we're seeing quite a bit of changes here. Bman actually going to go for a more, I guess a more versatile deck here. Going with the Squad this time, as well with the Falcon Cam, along with the Badger. Meanwhile, for Big Ben over here, who is again deciding to go ahead and go for an early attack, but Bman's going to see this right away. Keeping the same for the most part, except for the quick switch to the barbed wire, which is interesting. And another interesting case is that we're seeing, that's a choice. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but it seems like that he is committed to try and go for an early attack here into this matchup for Ben. But I think that if he wants to go there, he has to put them a little bit more forward so that way they'll be in a better position to attack. But I think he's trying to play a little bit of mind games on Bman's end to try and see if he can get him to sell. And I don't think that's going to happen, really. Because, actually, I need to check. Is he aware of the two? No, he's not. Not at all. So, he's not very aware, but I'm pretty sure that he does know with the fact that there aren't a lot of... Yep, he's going to see that the Squirrel Warrens are already out and about, so his intuition was correct. Trying to keep them around. Probably going to go for a third one. So, again, pacing is on Bman's side 100% so far in this game. And I am not quite sure if like going this heavy on the Squizzard, especially with the fact that he doesn't have a lot of food on his way, is not going to suit well for Ben in this case. But we'll have to see how this goes as the game goes on. We are past the 2-minute mark. And if Ben wants to do something, which it looks like he is going to go ahead and finally get his pigs paid for, he needs to go ahead and do some kind of attack now into a certain angle. I will say probably going in this pathway since there's nothing protecting him from this. Though Bman's going to try to snipe this out really quick. He does lose a pig there. And the Falcon may get lost here. And he loses the Falcon, so he may get a lot more. And he will. So that's a really good attack there for Ben in this case. So really good going after in that angle, being able to take out a lot of the pigs, and that Falcon did not come in time to do more damage to what Ben was doing. So a really good attack there from Ben, and now he has a little bit of a little bit of things to play around with. Well, I believe yes, it's a little bit even there when it comes to the army. The economy is going to be a huge factor now with the losses that have been made. As we are going to see Ben might be thinking of going for another attack. I mean, like, the angle is right there again. So I could see him easily going after these pigs. Yep, one pig is down. And that's all he's going to get here. But it's going to put Bman into more of a forward attack and have them commit, and that's a lot of units gone there from those toes. Really good toe connections. And now Bman has all the momentum in the world to go ahead and go for the attack. Trying to hit where it hurts, trying to get at least 2 pigs, and he will do just that. Maybe trying to get a little bit more, but he's staying there a little bit too long for my liking, as he does lose a Falcon, which is not good. But he does end up taking some of the economy back from Ben as well in this case. So really good mix between the two. As right now, both sides really trying to commemorate their losses a little bit. I will say that Bman might be in a little bit... Well, I would say that Bman is in a much better position. He's not going to go ahead and get into his second mill. Meanwhile, Ben is still on his first mill, but he needs to go ahead and do something pretty soon because the 5-minute mark is going to be passed, and he's going to be in a much more dire situation as Bman is going to set himself up to, you know, have some pretty decent economy, even with the starting pigs going down. So go ahead and look at the army chart real quick. You are going to see that Bman is a little bit of the edge, but ooh, what a great flank here. Taking out that mill, and that's so much food lost from that attack alone. But now it could put Bman in a situation where he has to go ahead and do a counterattack, hoping to get some defense going. Losing, oh my god, those toe connects are so deadly. And now Bman's on a prime to actually take this game outright here for game 2. And it's looking to be the case as Bman goes ahead and takes out the Soul Mill. So while I do like that attack initially, take out that mill, the counter attack was just too much for Ben to handle. So with that, Bman will be up 2-0 with a chance to get the W right here. Yeah, that was a very good. I really like strategies between both of them in that game number 2. So I'm very excited to see if Ben can finally get on the board, or will Bman go for the clean sweep? If it works, there we go. So over on the east side, we have Ben here with the blue. While on the east side, we do have Bman in the green. So again, another change up between, well, definitely a switch up for Bman. Not so much for Ben here, as we are going to see the MGs come into play this time. Kind of reverting back to the original deck that he had in game 1. Meanwhile, for Ben, not really much of a change, too much. Going back to what he had in game 1 as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't know if Ben wants to continue trying to go for the early attacks here, or if he just wants to go for the Gentleman's 8, as I like to call it, and just, you know, go ahead and get your economy go. Try to get some pacing going on your end. Actually, no, never mind. I just saw the squirrel warren early here, and Bman is once again aware of it, which means that he will respond in turn of getting a squirrel of his own. So I can understand wanting to go for the early attacks in this, but as I said, it's probably one of the more difficult ones to do within this game, especially with doing it the way he's positioning them right here. I'm not that big of a fan personally, mainly because of the fact that, like, when you want to go for an early attack, you want it to be as forward as possible, I would assume. And heck, I would even say that it might be easier to do it with lizards than squirrels, since lizards are much faster and they do attack faster as well. So even though I do believe that they are like a little bit weaker when it comes to damage, that quick pace is more than enough to take it out, as B-Man's able to defend this very well. There's not much that Ben can really do with that attack. So once again, Ben's gonna have to go back to the drawing board and try and build up his army as much as he can, because B-Man is already setting up his tier 2 at this moment. So we'll see if he tries to change up his opening and decides to go for a tier 2 of his own. He hasn't put anything down as of yet, and it looks like that he might go for another. Yep. Oh, actually, no. He's gonna go for a wolf here. Very interesting choice. We're seeing an MG coming down for B-Man though, as well as another mill. So very interesting, very different setup between the both of them. B-Man going for a more defensive one. There is going to be another that can get attacked very easily, the second mill. Depends on the pathway, but B-Man's going to see that the tier 3 is there, so he's got to get moving. We are seeing that Ben is going to kind of float a little bit to try and get this tier 3 done. Oh, actually, no, he sold it. Wait, he did sold it. What the heck? Oh my gosh. What? Okay, All right, so this is definitely a very interesting. We're going to see a massive amount of squirrels coming in for Ben here, just completely flipping everything on its head, probably because he was afraid that, like, B-Man was going to go attack very quickly. But we are seeing that, I look like B-Man was thinking of going for an attack, but he decided against it because he did see that the mass squirrels are coming his way. But I do think that B-Man has more than enough to handle it. He just got to wait for both of his Falcons to come out. And I think that'll be more than enough to handle the squirrels here. Even if he doesn't wait for all of his guns to come out, he does have 3 out. But they're going to be struggling a little bit here as the fight is going to commence. We'll see what happens. And it looks like B-Man's going to do more than enough to take out the rest of this army. And he can just go ahead and try and get the cleanup. But he does lose one of his Falcons. But one pig is going to go down, and he's going to have to retreat because he doesn't really have enough firepower to handle out the reinforcements. But right now, you got to like how things are looking for when it comes to B-Man, as he's going to go ahead and go for this attack again, this time with 4 skunks on the ready, but he doesn't really have any squirrels on the front lines to probably take this on. 1 Falcon goes down, but there's not much for Ben to do here to get this win, and now all the pigs are getting targeted, and it's not looking good here, as I would have to say that this is going to be game here. As the mill goes down, there's not a lot of farms to go here. I mean, B-Man can just finish this off right here and there, and yep, there it is. So, with the clean sweep here, gotta give